Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WTM China Tourism Forum, which addresses how to attract Chinese visitors during and post-Covid-19. I'm Gemma Greenwood, and I'm the Director of Content Inc., a corporate communications and editorial services provider to the travel, tourism and hospitality sector. And it's a real pleasure to be here today to moderate this forum. To put things into perspective, China has the world's largest outbound tourist market, delivering 169 million outbound tourists in 2019. Chinese travellers are also the top spenders, generating an estimated $255 billion in tourism expenditure, also in 2019, according to the UNWTO. This figure represented 1/5 of global tourism spend. Since Covid-19, there have been major changes in demographics, product preferences, ways of travelling, and factors affecting travel decisions. At this forum, we'll discuss these, as well as China's recovery and reopening, the new Chinese travellers, and crucially, what destinations must have in place to attract Chinese visitors when travel does resume. Now, we're very lucky to have joining us today several industry leaders, including tourism ministers and some of China's largest travel companies. Today's session is organised by China Travel Online. That's a leading B2B portal that specialises in outbound travel from China to more than 100 destinations globally, and it works with thousands of Chinese tour operators. China Travel Online is an official WTM London partner. And joining us virtually today is the company's CEO, Marcus Lee, who will be leading the session today as forum chair. But before I do hand over to Marcus, I'd also like to quickly introduce our panel of esteemed speakers. So here on the global stage, we're privileged to have with us the Honourable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism for Jamaica, and Dhananjay Regmi, the CEO of Nepal Tourism Board. And I do believe the Honourable Najib Balala, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Tourism and Wildlife Kenya, is also joining us today. Now, online, we have two people from the largest travel companies in China. We have Zhang Han, he's the General Manager of CITS Shanghai, and Yang Yang, who's the General Manager, Spring Travel Beijing. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our speakers for joining us today. Now, to kickstart proceedings, Marcus, who was previously mentioned as the CEO of China Travel Online, will provide a short presentation, and we will then hear from each of the speakers about strategies for attracting the Chinese market during and post-COVID. Now, to provide a little more background on China Online Travel, is the leading China outbound travel portal, connecting world travel resources to Chinese operators and professionals, spanning destinations, attractions, DMCs, hotels, the MICE sector, luxury, shopping and transportation. Quite a long list there. So in 2019, China Online's travel subsidiary, Welcome China, was appointed coordinator of China Pacific Tourism Year. That was an initiative that brought in $4 billion worth of investment and 200,000 Chinese tourists. And based on this success, Marcus was subsequently appointed the Samoan Prime Minister's Special Envoy to China. He is also economic advisor to Chinese municipal governments. Marcus speaks 6 Chinese languages and is also the author of international bestseller, How to Outsmart China, which has been featured in Bloomberg and CNN. So it's safe to say he's the go-to resource on the Chinese market and its behaviour. So on that note, it gives me pleasure to hand over to Marcus, whose presentation is entitled, How to Attract Chinese Visitors During and Post-Covid-19. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Jamal. On behalf of the organizer, China Travel Online, I wish to warmly welcome all delegates and speakers to attend the WTM China Tourism Forum 2021. I'd especially like to thank my friend, Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, Najib Balala, and Minister of Tourism, Edmund from Jamaica, our friend from Nepal Tourism Board CEO, Dr. Rajmi, and special thanks to the moderator, Jamal. This year, we make history because we have the top 3 largest tour operators from China joining us at the GM and the CEO level. Good afternoon to all exhibitors, buyers, media, and friends from around the world. My name is Marcus Lee, CEO of China Travel Online. Today, I present you how to attract Chinese visitors during and post COVID-19. China Travel Online, as Jamal introduced, is China outbound travel portal that specializes focused in 100% on B2B, outbound, and digital. More than 100 destinations is listed here. The website is chujingyu.org, literally translated as outbound travel. China outbound, 80% of China outbound tour operators, which consists of 35,000 corporate organizers and 74,000 travel professionals. Our parent company, International China Investment Forum, started just as a forum with a few hundred companies in China specialized in outbound investment. And in the past 19 years, we grew bigger to become an 11,000 corporate members SME Business Owners Association. If you're interested, you can look at the website chinainvest.net. On the left, CEO Asia, we own 2 MICE companies. Our exhibition subsidiary owns and operates 6 large-scale exhibitions that could attract thousands to tens of thousands of visitors to your destination. And on the smaller scale, we organize seminar, incentive conferences to overseas. Digital China is own proprietary technology in virtual roadshow, online expo, and e-learning, and we manage a dozen of social medias in China. On the right, Welcome China is the largest tourism marketing agency with office in 9 major cities in China. Our flagship program, China Ready, is recognized by UnionPay, the world's largest credit card. Now, the main question all of you sitting down there will be, what is the market outlook for China outbound travel market and travel in general? I don't have to explain to you that China is the world's largest source market. In 2019, recorded 169 million outbound tourists. Not just the number, China is also top spender outbound, spending 265 billion in 2019, double of American, 3 times of German, 4 times of British. But I do want to explain to you, China's economy have a stunning growth, GDP growth this year, achieving a projected GDP of 8%. And China becoming the only major economy to achieve positive GDP growth rate in 2020. And on the right, you see, in addition, China is hosting Beijing Olympic 2020 in February, which is just 4 months from now. So, wow, this is one picture will tell you the story of China tourism in 2020. This is a picture of Great Wall and a national holiday just completed 2 weeks ago. That's right, over 500 million Chinese travel. You did hear me correctly, 500 million Chinese travel. Just 7 days in 2021, October 1 to 7. We call that Super Golden Week. To be exact, 550 million Chinese travel. So where Chinese went? We went to Great Wall, Forbidden City, historical old town, nature, outdoor park, amusement park. You see that Universal Studio? Yes, Harry Potter was flying around. And then this number was 70% recovered from 2019 number and spending a whopping 60 billion in travel and tourism. And for those Chinese who's locked in the country and couldn't go out, they spent in 6 days, 250 million in Hainan alone doing shopping. So if you're not convinced, I want to explain to you, China tourism has rebounded since 2020. I'd like you to pay attention on the table on the right. I make a comparison of May Labor holiday between 2019, 2020, and 2021. Last year, we recorded 150 million tourists, not bad. And this year, we doubled that, 230 million. What is amazing is it actually surpassed 2019 pre-pandemic level. So where Chinese travel, they went as far as, you look at the picture on the left, they went as far as Gobi Desert, historical sites, and nighttime economy, very important, restaurants and bar, national park, nature, shopping, etc., with different mode of transportation, including train, flight, self-drive. C-Trip, the OTA, did an interesting survey comparing 2021 to 2020 May Day holiday. In 2021, there's increase of 28% of flight, 70% of hotel, over 300% of car rental, and over 400% of attractions. So not just leisure market, but also very active, China also very active in MICE market. I remember my company was participating, exhibiting in the China International Tourism Expo last year in Guangdong, September, for our client, some tourism board. But fast forward to this year, in June, a couple months ago, in my city, Shanghai, hosted China Auto Forum, where Porsche was there, about 1,000 delegates. However, there's something bigger is coming this week, the China Import and Export Expo. So the next important question is, the million-dollar question is, when is China going to open? How about the travel intent? What are the new Chinese travel trends? China is not opening its border yet for outbound tourism, and international is not geared up or resumed. There's no fake news about that. But what is the good news and positive news is 80% of Chinese population are vaccinated. So we are projecting China open up in the first half of 2020, according to China's CDC. However, the actual opening dates, please refer to Chinese government announcement and news. So China is flying high again, according to Serum in Travel Intelligence Report 2020, released in September. 96% of Chinese intend to travel again. But what is important for you, 61% intend to travel outside China when after the border open in the following sequence, more or less. Southeast Asia, Europe, Oceania, East Asia, Middle East, Africa, and America. In terms of factors deterring the travel intent, obviously health, spread of virus, income, discrimination, but safety is number one factor. So who will travel first? Very interestingly, is FIT, those experienced luxury followed by business travel and small groups. In terms of factor affecting decision to travel, promotion by destination ranked number 2. And if your destination is planning reopening preparation for China, I have 2 keywords to share with you. Number 1 is timing. Number 2 is China ready. My last slide about travel intent, the new Chinese travel trend, the new Chinese traveler. If you look at my slide on the right, the emerging vacation idea, including hidden gems, new destination, luxury hotel as the destination, very nice idea. Self-driving, outdoor, nature, hot air balloon, island diving, less crowded place like desert, health spas, wellness, and most importantly, of course, safety first destination. Isn't this give you a renewed understanding of Chinese market? That's a shift from package tour to FIT and focus in younger generation comprised of 60%. So if you want to think about, oh, I will do promotion when I have the budget, I will do promotion when China just announced opening, maybe, I'm sorry, maybe you're a bit late. Expect very fierce competition for this 100 million market. So the question is how to win. The key question is how to reach Chinese market. You are welcome to come to China for exhibition, do roadshow, or maybe perhaps explore digital marketing. The mother of all steps, the number 1 step or the starting point is getting your destination China ready, and this is the best time. So on the picture on the right, you see that China Ready program. We launched it in Oman, the Middle East, for 100 companies. We have launched China Ready in 6 continents, in 48 countries. In Africa, we launched for Zimbabwe, and they achieved 100% increase in 2019. I want to explain to you, China Ready is not just training program, but every step helping the destination and service provider to be ready to welcome Chinese. How Chinese look for information, about tourists search for information. According to UNWTO, the number 1 source of information is website or online community. So China have a separate web system known as China Wide Web. You know, in China, there's no Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube is banned. So that's why it's minimum to have a Chinese website, because over 97% of Chinese do not speak English. So what is more convincing is the internet users surpassed 1 billion in Q3 2021. So if you use YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and we use WeChat, Weibo, and TikTok, those are among the most popular social media in China and most important tourism marketing tools. Hence, setting up and maintaining social media accounts in China is necessary. This includes video marketing. You may have heard of TikTok, who have 800 million users. We call it Douyin in China, ranking number 1 short video platform. Chinese use at least an hour per day. So speaking about webinar, many countries are using webinar, including ourselves, for promoting for destination over 25 countries since last year. However, things have changed. Now become less popular from 1 hour to 30 minutes to 10 minutes. So webinar is not the trend for China. What is replaced is, what is important, useful is e-learning. E-learning in one word is online training. You know, e-learning has been around, it's been in Europe or US, but it's different. E-learning in China and Europe is different. In China, we launched 3.0 technology with locking system, gamification, cash reward, gift reward in multiple formats, PC, mobile, WeChat. I'd like to introduce you CTT, China Travel Training, which is an online education platform with 110,000 members. If you want to bring your news across China, it's important that you consider media and PR in China. Aside from official accounts like WeChat, Weibo, and Baidu, explore OTA, pure media like People's Daily or Global Times and video. So in terms of B2B, live events are canceled and postponed or go hybrid. So you can create your own virtual roadshow. This is a 60% cost saving compared to physical roadshow that enables sellers to meet buyers. Very important event before the border opening. We are one of the 3 companies that own proprietary technology in virtual roadshow in China. Last 2 points I want to talk about. If you want to do branding in China, live and online forum is a good idea. In last February, we launched China Pacific Tourism Forum for 14 countries. Very well received. And last point is, if you want to come to China, you're welcome to organize virtual workshop when this border is open, face-to-face meeting, even farm trip and press release. You see from this picture, we have done very successful and the largest roadshow for India tourism, meeting over 200 Chinese companies. My last slide talk about Tourism Year. Tourism Year is the single largest campaign any country can do in China. We were the coordinator of China Pacific Tourism Year in 2019 for 10 countries. And the benefit is you see a 200% jump in tourist number. In summary, if Chinese website will be the minimum you can do. If you want to explore B2B, try e-learning or virtual roadshow, and social media help you to reach millions of Chinese travelers and getting your news across through media and PR. When market open up, you can consider welcome to come to China to do roadshow, sales call, expo. But before you do all these promotions, remember the first step is to do market research and making your destination ready, called China Ready. These are some of the awards I've received along the years. If you have any question, you're please welcome to contact my colleague Aaron or myself, Marcus. The website and email is listed here. With this, I conclude my presentation, and then I'll hand it back to Jamal. Thank you very much for your attention.
I think he does deserve a round of applause. Thank you so much, Marcus. That was really insightful. Learned a lot there. Now it's time to hear from our panelists, who I'm going to formally introduce. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to our online panelists, who will be joining us virtually in a moment from China. We have joining us Mr. Zhang, who's the General Manager of CITS Shanghai. Now, that was founded in 2004, and it's the largest travel agency in China. In 2016, China Tourism Group was established as a result of a merger between CITS and CTS, creating China's largest tourism state-owned enterprise, with 60 million clients annually. That's huge. As of 2019, CTG has 43,000 employees and assets worth some $20 billion. So Mr. Zhang will be joining us in a moment. We also have Yang Yang, who's the General Manager of Spring Travel Beijing. Now, Spring Travel is ranked one of China's top 3 tour operators. It is one of the largest wholesalers of outbound travel from Beijing and Shanghai, with more than 100 stores and 40 branches nationwide. Spring Travel Group also owns Spring Airlines, with 102 aircraft operating domestic and international flights. Now to our gentlemen on the stage here. So joining us today, we have the Honourable Najib Balala, who assumed the position of Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife for Kenya in 2015. Having also served as Minister of Tourism from April 2008 to March 2012, Mr. Balala holds the record of being the longest-serving minister in his role. Congratulations. He has also been elected chairman of the UNWTO twice, in 2011 and 2019, and he was the chairperson of UNWTO Executive Council from 2019 to 2020. Thank you, Mr. Balala, for joining us today. Now, we do have somebody from Jamaica joining us soon, but before we introduce him, when he arrives, we will hand over to Dr. Dhananjay Rejmi. Dr. Rejmi, he's the CEO of Nepal Tourism Board and is an eminent mountain geomorphologist and glaciologist. Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? He's specialized in environmental sciences at renowned global institutions and spent many years researching in Nepal's Himalayas. Dr. Rejmi has successfully led Nepal's tourism through the Covid-19 crisis and is committed to driving Nepal's tourism trends towards a sustainable future. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Rejmi. So, we're now going to start with our presentations. We're going to hear from the Honourable Mr. Balala first, but before he speaks, we're just going to watch a short video, Magical Kenya. Wonderful video. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. So, Mr. Balala, you're going to tell us a little bit more about what you're doing to court the Chinese markets. Can you tell us what your strategy has been and is right now?
Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be back at the World Travel Market, and what a break we took, and now we are back, and nothing can replace the direct physical interaction. Is it going to be a solution in terms of having virtual communication? I don't think so. We need to be physical to appreciate this is travel, because travel is physical. Definitely, the Chinese market is a big market. You have seen 2019, 277 million people traveled, bigger than any other country or any other destination. But yes, are we ready for them? I think it's a lesson that we have now realized there's a potential in the Chinese market. We in Kenya have received less than 100,000 Chinese 2019. Small number compared to their outbound numbers. But yes, we have put a strategy very clear that the Chinese market is highly potential. We need to make sure that there is communication in terms of language. There is also accessibility in terms of flights, as well as definitely we need to give them the products that they need. In the ideas that Marcos has just presented, is that yes, Kenya is ready. Kenya has what they want in terms of nature, in terms of accessibility to the product. So yes, we have the luxury products that they need. So we are ready for the Chinese market.
And in terms of accessibility, how are things improving there in terms of getting the air capacity?
Well, first of all, we have two airlines that travel. Southern China travels into Nairobi directly, as well as Kenya Airways to Guangzhou. So we have accessibility in terms of capacity of flights, but also now we don't have any restrictions on quarantine. You just have to have a PCR test 96 hours before, and you're allowed to enter into the country. So Kenya is open, as well as Kenya is safe, because our numbers are very low. As per this month, we are only at 2% infection rate, so it's very low, it's contained. We have less than 5,000 people who passed away during this pandemic.
And just lastly, what would you say has changed in terms of your strategy towards attracting the Chinese market as a result of the pandemic? Is there any nuances, anything different that you're promoting or the way you're going about?
Well, we've realized also the market has changed. The source, the clientele from China has changed. They want luxury. They don't want to be crowded. They also want to experience adventure into the destination. They want to travel small, not in big crowds. So they have experience into like FIT traveler. Before we used to have with coaches and guided coaches, but now it's different. And Kenya wants that because it's high-end, it's quality, it's not overcrowded. Our facilities or our wildlife or safari product is very sensitive and fragile. So we care is not mass market, is actually small crowds, but high-end as well. And we believe there's a big market from China.
Thank you very much. Now, to keep things flowing between the global stage here today and in China, we are going to now move over online, virtually, to Mr. Zheng, who's the General Manager of CITS Shanghai. So, I think up there. If not, we'll carry on talking.
Thank you, Gemma. So I'll be helping to moderate the session with the Chinese speaker as a forum chair for the WTM China Tourism Forum. So 张总这个环节就是我跟你在洽谈沟通，我们讨论一下这个中国促进游的趋势。张总，你能听到我说话吗？ OK，
我听得到。OK。
那张总，第一个问题我想问你的就是，你怎么看待这个中国促进游的市场前景？
市场的前景就是说这个你应该是说几时可以恢复吧？
对的，几时可以恢复？就是整个促进游的市场你怎么看？
对，我知道大家都希望我们来旅游，我们也希望尽早的出来。但是在简单的里面，我觉得有3个问题需要得到一个肯定的回答。
好，那张总我就先翻译一下。So I'll be helping to do the direct translation, so save our time. So Mr. Zhang is from CITS Group Shanghai, the largest tour operators in China. He said Chinese very much love to travel outbound, but he said there will be 3 factors to consider. 那张总，请你说。
第一就是说，中国的游客到目的地去入境之后，无需要隔离就可以直接观光旅游吗？
Okay, so the first factor is, if Chinese able to travel out to your countries, would they be able to start traveling without quarantine? 张总，第二个问题。
就是第二个问题就是说，中国的客人从旅游结束返回中国的时候，是否可以不需要隔离就直接恢复到正常的生活工作状态？
Now the second point is when Chinese travel, let's say they go to Kenya or Jamaica or Nepal, when they return to China, do they need to quarantine for a long time in China? That's what happened right now.
因为这2个问题呢，就是实际上是一个问题，就是说入境的隔离的时间，在这之前我们都知道有一个14天的隔离，对于中国入境来讲，可以有一个14加上7再加7天的一个隔离。
So basically, this is actually one main message he was trying to explain. So basically, is the entry point of a quarantine in both destinations. How much time we need to spend on there, and what are the requirements?
特别是截止到目前，所有的入境的人士，不管是中国的公民还是外国的公民，在进入到中国境内的时候，都要执行这个入境的隔离的政策，并没有放松，目前还在严格的执行。
Currently, entry to China is still controlled pretty tight, and still have a long, many days of quarantine, 14 days plus 7+7. That's why you don't see much Chinese traveling out right now yet. 那张总，我们换个话题吧，就是你觉得我们这个目的地呢是可以做点什么准备，或者说你觉得中国游客现在有什么改变呢？怎么吸引他们？
OK， 很好。我觉得中国的游客，特别是在现在也应该有一些变化。这个疫情对他们带来了就是这样几个变化，我想作为一个特点讲一讲。第一，就是说 中国的游客现在使用手机进行在线的内容解说、预订、在线的支付的这个行为习惯进一步养成了。
好，那这样子，我跟他们说一下，就是 I was asking Mr. Zhang how the new Chinese traveler behavior change that may impact the destination in terms of attracting them. So the answer given was, right now, more and more Chinese are using mobile technology to do booking and shopping. So this is the new trend. And 那张总，那还有什么方面呢？
第二个呢，就是说现在的就是未来趋势来看，应该是自助游和新的跟团游这两种方式平分这个市场。
Okay, 好。So as mentioned in my presentation and verified by Mr. Zhang, FIT is the new trend, and maybe semi group, customized group. So those are the new trend for the way of Chinese traveling. 张总，你可以继续。
我们考虑到就是中国政府对疫情的这种控制，我觉得如果在开放的初期，可能会专门要求以跟团游为主，这样充分的发挥旅行社的组织和导游领队的作用。
So Mr. Zhang mentioned one point that I did not cover just now is he felt that in the beginning of China reopening, China tour operators, especially outbound tour operators, play a big role because I think that will be more tightly regulated. That's why they prefer to have a group travel out in the beginning of the reopening.
对，因为在这个新的跟团游里面有几个特点：小团化，再就是回归家庭，都是一些精致的熟人小团，再是个性化的定制产品。
好。But Mr. Zhang also reconfirmed what we've been always talking, the shift from package tour to FIT. But now we also talk from the shift from big group to smaller group, and then from big group to customized tour group. With family.
总结起来就是说，出境旅游它的要求就是安全可靠最重要，预订、退票、改签能够在线上完成，突发情况能够尽快的处理解决。
In summary, that say that to facilitate the travel of Chinese, the best way to do is flexibility. For example, flight ticket will be able to change quite flexible, and also the tour group. So those are the main trend that of China outbound travel right now. No, okay. 张总，如果是还有什么补充吗？如果没有的话，我们就回到主持人了。
好的，谢谢。
好 ，Thank you. Jamal, back to you.
谢谢。
Thank you very much. Thank you to both of you. So as I said, we're going to keep flowing backwards and forwards. Now today we were going to have the Honourable Edmund Bartlett from the Minister of Tourism for Jamaica here, but I do believe we have someone who's taking his place, Donovan White, Director of Tourism for Jamaica. Would you be able to come and join us? Thank you, Donovan. Thank you for coming in at the last minute.
How are you, sir? Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Thank you for joining us. So we heard quite a lot there about some of the key things that Chinese travellers are looking out for. Could you tell us about what your strategy is in Jamaica in terms of the Chinese market and how that has changed? And maybe touching on some of the points that Marcus and
Sure.
Mr. Zhang were talking about.
First of all, Marcus and I have had quite a bit of time in terms of building and trying to build capacity within the Jamaica market space, and certainly within the Caribbean space for the Chinese traveler. It's still work in progress for us. We are still very interested to unearth that market. Obviously, the biggest of challenges would be obviously the airlift capacity and having the destinations ready for the Chinese traveler. The Caribbean and indeed the Jamaican marketplace is more akin to typically the sun, sand, and sea traveler. We have changed the topography of the Jamaican product to be outward looking to the adventure part of our destination, which we have agreed with Marcus and his team. That's a good fit for the Chinese market, as has been said by Minister Bilal as well. And so we're looking to build that capacity. We're looking to build the capacity within our hotels to facilitate the Chinese. The language nuances is another area of focus for us. And so we're going to continue to do this prep work because we don't want to start and stop and have that ebb and flow. We want to be able to, once we're able to develop the airlift appetite for the Chinese air carriers, it's quite a way to travel. And so that's at the end of the day, that's the most important part, because if there's no way to get there, then there's nobody coming. So it's work in progress for us, but we recognize the importance of the Chinese market. We recognize the value of the Chinese traveling market, and we certainly would like to see Jamaica and indeed the wider Caribbean and indeed the Americas be even more open to and ready to receive Chinese travelers and be able to facilitate the nuances of that marketplace.
And in terms of courting that traveller, I mean, we heard a lot from Marcus about social media channels. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you're already engaged with in terms of that market, or something you're looking into? How does that work?
That's an interesting question, because that's one of the first things we did around about 12 years ago when Usain Bolt came to life in Beijing. We had already started this approach to the Chinese market, and one of the first advice we got was to get our website, get our social media handles. We had an agency in China that represented the destination. So as I said, it is not a marketplace that you just switch on and switch off. It's a marketplace that you have to properly nurture, and your destination have to be ready in a way that allows you to feed those needs of the Chinese traveler. And so we believe we're not too far away now. We still have some work to do, and we are interested in getting it done because we are interested in having that market travel to us.
So do you feel that the pandemic has perhaps given you that breathing space to kind of catch up while you're waiting for China to reopen again?
It certainly has. It certainly has. And we have used it maybe not as well as we wanted to, because obviously, we have the challenge of, understanding your, as we say, bread and butter markets. This is, for us, an aspirational marketplace. And as we say, we're very well and focused in terms of being connected with Marcus and his team and continuing to see the development of our product fit for the Chinese traveler.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Regmi, we will come back to you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're keeping the flow going, how it is these days with the hybrid environment. So we're now going to back online. We're going to Mr. Yang, who's the General Manager of Spring Travel Beijing. And once again, Marcus will be asking questions and translating for us. So I'd like to hand back to you, Marcus.
Thank you, Jamal. So now I'm with Mr. Yang, the GM for Beijing Spring Travel Services, the top 3 largest tour operator in China, and also own Spring Airlines, 102 aircraft that fly domestically and internationally. I'd like to welcome Mr. Yang. Yang总你好。
你好。
你好，那我们就直接进入这个正题啊。就我想问一下这个杨总，您对这个促进游市场的分析。So my first question for Mr. Yang is his view of the China outbound travel market.
好的，在场的各位朋友，还有主持人，大家下午好。
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, including the moderator.
非常荣幸参加这次论坛。那我更希望下次我能够到现场参加论坛，而不是仅在线上。
It's privileged to be here, and he wished to be attending live next time.
好，现在回答第一个问题。其实大家都关心中国的出境游市场何时开放不光是中国以外的境外的这些朋友们关心，其实就连我们中国的业内朋友，包括我们的游客都特别的关心。
Actually, everyone is very concerned. When is China opening? It's a million-dollar question.
所以一方面呢，刚才我们的前头2位朋友在讲，他们都做好准备，等待中国游客。那同时，我们中国的游客也迫切的希望早日能够走出国门，恢复到全世界的旅游。
Just now, 2 speakers were saying that their destination is ready to receive Chinese, and from inside China, where we're sitting, we're actually very eager to travel out.
确实中国游客的这个出境旅游的需求，可能因为疫情的原因被暂时的压制但是这种旅游需求不会被消灭，它一定会在适当的时候充分的爆发出来。
Let me assure you, the demand for outbound travel is there, and it will be explosive when the border is reopened.
现在目前还阻碍中国游客出境旅游的，主要有2方面的这个困难。第一方面来自于疫情，因为大家都知道疫情还没有完全过去，特别是进入冬季以后北半球的疫情可能会有反复所以这个来讲是我们最大的一个挑战。
So basically, there are 2 obstacles to encourage China outbound travel. The first obstacle will be the pandemic still there. 杨总
第二个问题呢，大家也都知道，北京要在2022年2月份举办冬季奥运会，除了冬季奥运会以外，还在3月份要举办残疾人奥运会，所以这2个运动会对中国来讲非常重要。因此，为了顺利的举办好奥运会，在此之前，中国政府一定还会采取比较严格的防疫管控政策，以保证奥运会的顺利召开。
The second obstacle, as you know, and as I mentioned, that China is hosting the Winter Olympics 2022 and Paralympics in February and March, which is 4 to 5 months from now. So before Olympics open, China government will have a strict control on the inbound and outbound.
大家都知道。
对不起，杨总，我们换一个话题吧，就是在疫情后你觉得对中国游客有什么变化吗？比如说自驾游会不会多了，或者什么方面会有一些变化？就是中国游客会有什么变化呢？在疫情之后？
我还是先跟刚才那位提醒，现在补充几句吧。我想呢，这样的话呢，中国游客最乐观的话，会在明年的5、6月份可能开始有恢复出境游。那如果是全面的恢复，恐怕要到下半年以至后面的时间。
So his projection for reopening is around May-ish, and then for full reopening maybe towards second half of the year or early next year.
然后我认为呢，就是开始恢复跟全面恢复这个概念是不一样的。我觉得哪些国家目的地可以成为最先恢复或中国人首选的呢？我觉得有3个方面的条件。
So there's a main difference between initial opening and full reopening. There are 3 different factors.
第一这个旅游目的地的国家疫情控制必须非常好，比较安全。第二，这个目的地国家的入境限制比较轻松，而且呢签证比较便利，而且航班已经恢复，这是第2个。
So the first criteria will be low risk country. I also mentioned that in my PowerPoint just now. And then the second point is the entry exit requirement, the quarantine that Mr. Zhang has mentioned earlier on.
第3个条件是希望当地对中国游客比较友好，毕竟中国游客希望在热情、友善、安全的环境里去旅游。
The third point is coincide with what I mentioned just now, China ready. So a destination that is China friendly, China ready, and being friendly to and welcoming Chinese tourists in general.
刚才您提到的问题当中，就是会有什么变化？我想第一个不变的，那肯定是中国游客在疫情恢复之后，还是要保持着高增长的速度，人数会越来越多，这跟中国 GDP 的增长会保持一致。
So just now I asked Mr. Yang, what will change this post-pandemic travel? He mentioned that one thing that does not change is the number of China outbound tourists will keep growing larger in terms of numbers.
如果说变化，您说，如果说变化呢，有几个。第一个呢，在选择目的地，更希望那些自然环境好、空气清新比较健康的目的地。第二，从旅游形式来讲，从大团向小团乃至自由行转化。第三，从一般的观光旅游到度假和享受型来转化。
So that also mentioned in my PowerPoint that in terms of new travel trends, the vacation idea, if you remember, just like presented. So safety first destination, that's number first point. And he also mentioned about location or venue, destination with less crowded places like desert or islands, etc. 那杨总，我们先到这里，可能下面还有时间的话，我再回来跟您和张总一起再沟通。非常感谢。
好，谢谢。好的。
So Jamal, back to you. Maybe later when we have more time, we can go back to Mr. Zhang and Mr. Yang again. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you. Right, Dr. Rejmi, you've been waiting a long time. I'd love to hear from you about your strategy, because you have quite a lot of Chinese travellers coming to Nepal as a rule, don't you? Before the pandemic, it was becoming popular. So tell us about your strategy, and then perhaps move on to how it's changing going forward when China opens again.
Yeah. Well, actually, for the last couple of years, Nepal changed our whole strategy. Before we were promoting mostly these in the European or the American market, but later on we realized that for the sustainability or the sustainable market, we have to focus more on the Indian and the Chinese side, and that was really going in a very right direction. And we were focusing in two different markets, especially India and China. More focus was there. Obviously, for the more adventure activities, climbing, or for the adventure-loving people, we were focusing in the European market, American market. But with the China and India, we have the two very close relationship. That is, mostly one is attached with the religious thing. That is, for the Indians, we have these biggest Hindu temples in Nepal. One is Janakpur, another is Pashupatinath. And for the Chinese population, we have a birthplace of Lord Buddha. So these are the two different things where we were, try to focus on, and that has attracted a lot of people in Nepal. And at the same time, high level, especially the president visit to Nepal, that again increased the number of tourists, because he come up with the number of commitments that he is going to promote Nepal in his speech that was given to the Nepal government. So afterward, it was going in a very right direction. Nepal Tourism Board started to participate in number of new events, new trade fairs there. We started to give a number of language trainings, because the biggest barrier to us in the Chinese market was the language. So not only the tourism board, but from the cultural department of the Chinese embassy also, we started to give guide courses to the people, and we started to give them Chinese language. And then we started to study more in depth about the likes and dislikes of the Chinese people. And then we started, you don't believe that in the last 7, 8, or you can say in the 10 years, in one of these Chinese restaurants are increased like anything else. Like, everywhere you can see that the people love Chinese food. Even the Nepali people also started to love, because we like the spicy food, and they also focus on that. And you can, in every tourist destination, you can find hundreds of such Chinese restaurants. So that is also something that we were giving a priority. Our signage, we started to change into Nepali, English, Hindi, and Chinese. So our websites, we started to give a whole focus on that. So Nepal started to focus on that. So in between, then this pandemic came, and all of a sudden, and because of that, China became our second largest market.
Right.
after. So
Wow.
that was really good. So we were expecting much more in the Chinese market, and we were, we were trying our hard. So we don't want to lose it even after the pandemic. So even during the pandemic, when all this virus started from China, and there were so many things come up, we always showed our we come up with the solidarity message to the Chinese people who were there in the Nepal. We try to show that it can be started from anywhere, and it is something that we shouldn't dislike or like someone based on the, because of this pandemic. And we were standing together with them in every up and downs. And the reason was there that we won a good relationship with the China, and at the same time we were thinking about, we were very much clear about that this is our big market. And at present also, even during the pandemic, we started the WeChat. There is a kind of a competition. I don't know why globally this happened. We were focusing more on the TikTok before, and the TikTok is banned in one country, and we were focusing on another social media, they banned in that. But whatever it is, now we have to focus on more and more new things comes, and we have to go with. So we are trying to focus on the Chinese market. Obviously, without the WeChat, you cannot do. So we started that with the support of different, these tour operators in China and the Chinese government side as well. So I think we are doing good in the Chinese market, even during the pandemic also. We keep updating them, but the worst thing is that we open, but China is not open yet. No. And we are looking when they will open. Because I think not only Nepal, we are having very small number of people from there, but for our market it is very big. It makes a big sense. But throughout the globe, when we look at the number of the outbound travelers from China, obviously every country is looking for when the China is opening. And similarly, the Nepal is also. So we are not going to, focus less on the Chinese market. We certainly, and we are still every day, our tour operators are getting the updates from there. We are, even during this time, I think we are doing a good promotion, and as soon as it opens, I think the number will increase by twice. So we are really waiting, because the number of Indian tourists is already increased a lot now. After we open, our protocol is very easy. After Maldives, I think we are the one who come up with the very easy protocols. Like if you are vaccinated, you can travel to Nepal. You don't even have to stay in the quarantine. You just go there, get your PCR test done, which can be done in 6 hours in Nepal. If you want to get it done in airport, that is fine. If you want to get it done in your hotel, it is also available there. And in 6 hours, you will get your PCR result, and you can travel anywhere. So this is something quite easy at this moment, because before coming even to UK, just to get our visa, we have to travel to India. We spent 7 days there. After coming here, there were so many misunderstandings. One website is saying something, another was saying something. Some is saying 2-day quarantine, some is saying 2 day plus 5 day. So in between, I was about to come with my little bigger team, but half of my team said, no, so much confusions, we are not going. So at least what I say at present, at today's date, we are very much clear. It's quite easy. So the one gap is there, that I don't know how the people easily disseminate this information to the rest of the world, and we are missing somehow, somewhere in digital world, I think we are weak, where we couldn't give. Though open, in the whole Asian country, if you look, a country who is providing everything, who has beside oceans, we have everything, from 60 meters to the top of the world. All type of vegetations, different type of mammals, different type of biodiversity. You can find anything, what you love, what temperature you love. You can go in the little high, you can have that. In 160 kilometers, you are going to get the world's different type of topography from almost the sea level to the top of the world. And obviously with the altitude, everything changes, and you can enjoy. So, and after the pandemic also, people are saying that the natural areas, wilderness, people will focus on that. And where you find such a things, within a 1 hour drive, you can find a wilderness. There is no people. You can have your camp, tent in camp. There are so many, Sherpas to assist you. And the good thing that people don't know is that when they say, oh, Nepal, maybe they are not vaccinated. No. Most of the mountain areas, we have 6,000, 7,000, 9,000 people are living in the mountains in most of these tourist destinations. And all are 100% vaccinated. And the gateways, like you are flying to Kathmandu, People from the airport all the way to the hotels, all the people who are working, all are vaccinated. So, but when we talk about the total populations who are not engaged in the, not directly, indirectly involved in the tourism, obviously many of them, by their choice, they are not taking the vaccinations. Otherwise, people who are directly, indirectly involved in tourism business, they are. So these are the information that we are not, I think this is not reaching
So
to all the people. But in between, I think this is the information that we clearly gave to the Chinese market and the Indian market. That's why they are giving more emphasis to coming on. But they are also, we are also waiting, they are also waiting when it open, and I think we both countries will get a lot of benefit of it.
Thank you.
Probably,
Thank you.
can I say
Yeah,
something?
please do.
Probably there are three things that we need to focus. One is accessibility from the Indian market, Chinese market. That's accessibility is very key. Number two is language, signage. And number three is social media. And the social media that we have in other parts of the world is different from the social media in China, the WeChat and the rest. So we need to focus on that. But definitely in terms of the clientele, in terms of experiences, it's like any other tourist that wants to come and experience. They want good service, they want definitely good products, and they want to experience not just going to a hotel bed or brick and mortar. They want to feel it is a positive experience they've had. So that is very important. So those are the three fundamentals I believe you can capture the Chinese market. And Kenya is ready because we are using nature. We have a combination between safari and the beach, but also we value. It's only 9 hours from China to Kenya. So it's not that far as far we are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Marcus, I don't want to leave you hanging there virtually. I know you wanted to jump back in there. Is there any questions from your side? Perhaps touching on the technology point a little bit more, because that's something that seems to come up, the social media side of things, the TikTok, the engagement.
We can do the last part of the discussion in terms of technology. I think I'm amazed that Dr. Rajmi from Nepal, he and me share something in common. We can speak without breathing. So with the speed of light on speaking. So I was just commenting on what Cabinet Secretary Najib just mentioned just now. We need the new media to cover. I think if you pay attention to the media development in China, WeChat is no longer enough. You know, the richest man in China right now is the owner of TikTok that overtook WeChat owner. So that is something new. So if you follow the trend, then you know which apps to follow. So Toutiao, which is #1 news app in China, now has more time spent compared to WeChat, 76 minutes per user on average. So maybe I also would like to pose a question to Mr. Zhang. 张总，我有一个问题想问你 ，Mr. Zhang。
OK， 请讲。
张总，我想问你，你觉得目的地呢是可以如何吸引更多中国游客？他们如何用科技来吸引更多中国游客 ？My question for Mr. Zhang: How destination can leverage on technology to attract more Chinese？ 张总，
我觉得可以是这样的，就是说可以面向中国进行广泛的推广，通过各种的社交媒体投放短视频，或者是抖音直播、线上互动。
So Mr. Chang explained that video is very powerful right now, especially short video and also live streaming. Previously, we talked a lot about KOL, key opinion leaders. Make sure you don't get fake KOL because there are fake KOL in China too. But what is more reliable is actually having your own short video through something like TikTok or Douyin. 那张总还有什么科技方面的可以跟
比如说利用3D、VR、AR 构成一个虚拟空间和现实空间无缝转化的一种沉浸式体验，更加利于线下推广。
I think Mr. Zhang is very advanced. He was talking about augmented reality, virtual reality, and combined to become XR, extended reality. Did you hear that? So we are moving to something more very advanced in terms of technology. So maybe a last question for Mr. Yang， 谢谢张总。那我问一下杨总，杨总，你对这一方面呢，这个科技方面，你觉得目的地可以做点什么？还有什么他们能做的来吸引中国游客？从科技的这个角度。
肯定就是要掌握住现在中国，尤其是年轻人啊，他们的那个社交软件啊，刚才也说像抖音、快手、微信啊，这个来讲呢，就是我觉得最重要的。
Okay, so the same question I asked Mr. Yang: What are the new app or technology for the new generation of Chinese? So Mr. Yang explained that aside from Douyin, other social media platforms you could explore. There are different media social platforms more beyond WeChat and Weibo and Douyin right now. There are very many more. For example, Xiaohongshu, the Red Book. So different lifestyle focus, and for example, Zhihu, which is a knowledge-driven, like Quora in the West. So there are different platforms for different purpose and target groups. There are also some apps for female. So 谢谢张总、杨总。那我们回去给 Gemma. Back to you. Maybe there's other question for the speakers on the stage.
Well, I was just going to ask Mr. White, actually. You mentioned about Usain Bolt earlier. I mean, that must have been, how would you leverage that using kind of social media? That must have been a real gem for you. And how did that work, you know, in terms of the Chinese market?
Well, you know, part of the allure of the Caribbean and Jamaica is we have some assets that are unique. Obviously, sports is one. The outdoors is diverse across the region. One of the big initiatives that myself and Minister Bartlett are currently very engaged with is the development of multi-destination tourism in our region. Because our region is much smaller than Kenya or Nepal, but we are very close, and so if we're able to get the air capacity developed, it is harder for the big jets to take off and land in, you know, short distances. It's more expensive to do so. So we're looking at the opportunities of creating a single pathway for one tourist to have 4 different experiences in our region, starting obviously with Jamaica, because you're in proximity of the DR, you're in proximity of Cuba, you're in proximity of Panama, you're in proximity of Mexico, and so that creates more value for the tourists. It also gives them more of an opportunity to have a wider range of experiences, a wider range of taste, of food, of cultures. That those things are key for us, and we believe can be better leveraged to create a more sustainable approach to the marketplace. So we like I said, I'm not quite ready as Minister Balala, but we are committed to ensure that in very short order we'll not only be able to offer a product for Jamaica, but a product for the region that allows Jamaica to sit at the heartbeat of Chinese journey to the region.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, I think we've actually run out of time, unfortunately. I'd love to hear more from all of you. Marcus, did you want to give a few closing remarks before we sign off?
Thank you, Jamal, again. I want to express my deep appreciations for all the speakers and audience attending the WTM China Tourism 2021. This is actually, we are making history because this year, for the first time, we have the top 3 largest tour operators from China joining us. And also we are doing hybrid with WTM London. We are very proud to be an official partner of WTM London in China. But I want to personally thank our speakers coming live, including Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala, my good friend from Kenya. I want to show my appreciation to Jamaica. Good to see you again, Donovan. And then CEO of Nepal Tourism, Dr. Rajmi. I'm glad you make it live here on the stage. And also big thanks to moderator Gemma. Thank you so much for the hard work. And also thank you to 2 Chinese speakers. 非常感谢杨总和张总，今天非常欢迎和感谢你们参加这个 WTM 中国论坛2022年。We hope to see you all again next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming today. Hope to see you again soon.